Okay, so I think it's time to start talking about the NAR, Christian nationalism, and Donald Trump. Who's ready? Because I don't know if I am, but we'll see. We're gonna try. So before we even jump into it, I know that everybody likes to kind of like categorize people, which is normal, like our brains do that, in order to like filter the information that they're telling us, to figure out how we should feel about them. When we can fit somebody into a compartment, we feel a lot better internally. So, you know, do with the following information what you will. But I voted for Donald Trump in previous elections. I was part of the Christian Nationalist movement. I mean, albeit I didn't know that I was a part of a Christian Nationalist movement, and I definitely didn't know the implications of this Christian Nationalist movement. However, I have since learned a lot, and I would love to share with you what I have learned over these last 6, 7, 8 years. Okay, but before I like launch in fully, I guess I should probably say this is for entertainment purposes only. These are just opinions. You know, disclaimer, we're just having fun here, guys. Personally, I believe that there is evil and rot to the core of the US government, on the left and on the right, especially the far left and the far right, and the elites and the billionaires and the lobbyists. I have a lot of issues with our government, but I'm not really here to talk about all of the problems today. I know nobody's asking, but I'm sure people will be curious. I'm not voting for Kamala. I wasn't going to vote for Biden. I wasn't going to vote left or right. I will vote independent. I'm still undecided about which independent candidate that will be, but I plan to continue to do research between now and November and make an informed decision. And for those of you who would say that is me wasting my vote or like giving the power over to a quote worst of two evils, I think that's the problem. Like, I want my vote to go towards movement in a different direction away from this corrupt two-party system. So I feel like we're all doing the best we can with the propaganda we have access to, if you know what I mean. Okay, well, now that we have established all of that, I don't even really know where to start. So essentially between the years of like 2012 to 2016, 2017 maybe, I was pretty deeply wrapped up in this movement that I now know to be the NAR, or the New Apostolic Reformation. And among other things, there were strong ties to Christian nationalism. I even remember multiple times in multiple different settings, multiple conferences, hearing about something called the 7 Mountain Mandate. And I'll get into all of this later. So it's like, I remember hearing a lot of this, and at the same time, like, even though your gut is like, what? Like, is that really like what we're doing here as Christians? Like, we're trying to, you know, influence or control like the whole culture, the government, the this, the that, the entertainment. And I'm like, you know, in theory, it sounds fine. You know, it sounds pretty innocent on the surface level until you actually start thinking about the implications. And I don't even know at that point in my life if I would have had the tools in my tool belt to understand how to begin unpacking and what I would honestly call deprogramming from these kinds of mindsets and this kind of like Christian subculture that is astonishingly large and powerful and has a lot of influence politically and globally. Okay, so at some point I would love to dive in depth a little bit more with the NAR, its teachings, etc. But another major topic I'd really like to spend some time on is Donald Trump as a person. And if that is not something that you are interested in, feel free to move along, because although my target audience, like, I would love to be able to reach like Christians, especially Christians who are very like loyal to Trump as a person, I also know how difficult it can be like to be, I guess, perceived in a way that is like my intention. Because I came out of this movement. Like, I know how it goes. It is not an easy task. I guess I'll just say that much. Like I said, I voted for the guy. You know, with honestly with an odd feeling in my gut, but at the time, the programming and the conditioning and all of my community basically is, voting for this guy because, you know, word on the Christian street is that he's God's chosen man for the hour. Like, he's overturning the corrupt government. He's exposing what is broken and wicked at the center of our nation, which, like, we as Christians have perceived to be true for a very long time. That was the narrative. Like, this is, you know, he's, you know, not the most polished. He's not the most gentle. Like, no, he's not like Jesus, but like, this is who God has chosen to bring this country back to its Christian principles that this nation was allegedly founded upon. So, okay, so there are quite a few reasons I wanted to start speaking up about this, but the primary motivating factor was honestly my faith. So even after I left the NAR, the NAR, I still retained my Christian faith, and, you know, I'd say it's stronger and deeper and safer and healthier. You know, it's been really hard to process is looking back at like how I thought it was then and how I view it now. And I guess, like, for example, when I look at something like the January 6th insurrection, and I look at Trump rallies and, you know, all sorts of like far right protests who are full of Trump loyalists and Christian nationalists, it's just, I can't describe to you like how it feels like in my gut, like in my spirit, when I see, you know, these images and the name of my Savior, Jesus, like the gentlest, kindest, like he was love. He is love. His images juxtaposed with Trump, MAGA, like insinuations of violence and, you know, just like all sorts of stuff, like right next to it. And like as though they can be one and the same, or as though they can be compatible, or as though it would ever be like cool with Jesus and God to like put his name on things that are going on. But like, that is just, you know, a tale as old as time. Like, people have been making God in their image and rallying people to follow God, to follow them and allocate more power to them since the beginning of time. So, you know, I'll try to keep it as short and sweet as possible. If there's nothing else that I would ask people to reflect on, it would just be, is it possible that Trump is more of a wolf in sheep's clothing than God's man for the hour? I think it's more of the former. I don't even think he's got very good sheep clothing. But, you know, we were, as Christians, you are warned against the people that you don't expect. We are, you know, when Jesus came, like, he had a lot of bones to pick with the Pharisees and those who were using God's name to pursue their own purposes and to maintain their own power and control. And I just, if nothing else, I would love to see like God and Jesus and Christianity divorced from Donald Trump as a person. Like, I don't care who you vote for. If you say you're going to vote for him because he's, you know, his tax plans work for your business or work for your family, then vote for him. But if you say you want to vote for Trump because he is God's man of the hour and he is the godly pick, that is what I just would like to ask people to consider, to do research on, to try. I know it's uncomfortable to seek out other kinds of opinions because of what's called confirmation bias. Like, we seek out the things that are soothing to our nervous systems and our dogmatic way of thinking. Like, we like to pursue and find things that we that confirms what we already believe. So I know that is a big ask for some people, but a couple of places to start. I really appreciated a couple of Amazon Prime videos. One was called Unfit, and as a therapist, I love it. It talks about malignant narcissism. And for those of you who have ever dealt with malignant narcissisms, like I don't need to say anymore, but for those of you who like aren't sure if you have or don't know the kinds of evils that a person with malignant narcissism is capable of, with zero conscience, with very low impulse control, with low empathy, like there's a lot of reasons to be concerned. I really, really appreciated that documentary, as well as one that is called Bad Faith. It's 99 cents. The others that I mentioned are free, but Bad Faith is 99 cents. And it talks a lot about the Christian nationalism movement and its backing of Trump. And thirdly, I'm blanking on the name. I'll have to look it up. Okay, I just looked it up. The third one is called God and Country. So those would just be like small places to start. Any one of those I feel like is, enough to like get your wheels turning as a Christian, as a believer, as a free thinking person. So, at the end of the day, I hope that it's clear that my goals are way less political. Don't get me wrong, I would love to see a change just away from the two-party system, like a different distribution of power. Like I would love to change so much about the government. But because I feel that I have more influence in understanding Christian nationalism and understanding narcissism. I'm a therapist. I specialize in narcissistic abuse, and I also specialize in cult-like brainwashing, mind control, and spiritual abuse. I didn't see a lot, 7-8 years ago, but I have done literally thousands of hours of research, treating clients, doing my own work, books, podcasts, like you name it. I have done little else in my free time than hyperfixate on how I let what happened to me happen to me. So if I can just reach one person, even, like this would not be a waste of my time. Even if I could just get one person thinking about how much they match in their stated values and in their religion, and how that is being played out politically. So yeah, I'm more concerned for hearts and people's minds, and I know there's a lot of propaganda out there, like both sides, all sides, every side. Welcome to America. If propaganda here is new to you, like let me know. We can definitely do a deep dive. But yeah, hope to be back on sooner rather than later.